What's good, peeps? What is good? All right, let's see what we can talk about from the world of boxing today. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget as well to like and share, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Thank you so much to everyone that is doing it. All right, you know what? Before we start, I was thinking, and I'm still a bit like that with it, UFC 264 this weekend, Conor McGregor is fighting Dustin Poirier. I was thinking about doing a live watch along. But obviously, look, I know that a lot of you that watch this channel are boxing mad and a lot of you don't like your UFC. But I know there are a lot that do like a bit of MMA. I just need to almost gauge your opinion on it. Do you want me to do it or do you not? I don't expect all of you to kind of say yes. But if there are a few thumbs up, then I will do it. And we are going to do a live watch along of Conor McGregor this weekend. If not, then obviously I won't do it. We're not going to do the whole card. I think there's something like 13 fights. Obviously, it's a massive pay-per-view card, but we'll do the main event portion of it, which is like 4 or 5 fights. Let me know if you're interested. If you are, we'll do it. If not, ain't going to happen. All right, let's see what there is to talk about. Zhu Can versus Lee Wood title fight, reportedly set for July 31st in the UK. Okay, this is a bit of a surprise. I didn't expect to be giving you this news this evening. Look, you've just got to take these opportunities if they come around, don't you? You've just got to take them. I remember when it was announced that Dimitri Bivol was going to fight Craig Richards. I was like, what is going on? Craig Richards has grown because of that. When you hear Craig Richards talk in an interview, his confidence levels through the roof, and that's because he was able to hang for a few rounds. Not a few rounds, but he was able to hang until the distance with Dimitri Bivol. Zhu Can's a tough operator. There was a lot of talk about Zhu Can, who's a WBA featherweight champion, fighting Josh Warrington in a unification scrap. That didn't happen. Josh Warrington went on to fight Lara and lost. Who would have thought that Lara was going to beat Josh Warrington? Especially, I don't know if you guys remember when they showed the open workout of Lara hitting the pads. He looked awful, looked stiff. In the end, got the win. Now, I don't think Lee Wood is going to be able to beat Zhu Can, but you never know. Lee Wood's only lost a couple of times. Once was to Jezza Dickens. That was a majority decision. And the other one was to Gavin, was it Gavin McDonald? It was Gavin McDonald when he lost by TKO. So he's only lost twice. And those two aren't, you know what I mean, those are two decent operators. So it is a big step up, but you take the step up. He is coming off a win. Let me quickly check his record. I think he's coming off a win to Reese Mold, I think it is. Let's have a look. Yeah, coming off a win. It's up there, people. Reese Mold, who was 13-0, and that was in February, stopped him. I don't remember the fight, but he's coming off a win. A British featherweight champion as well. It is a big step up. It's a huge step up. But again, you take this. You're fighting in the UK, in front of your fans, and it's going to be for some good money. You take it. You take it, and who knows what could happen. All right, what else have we got here? Leo Santa Cruz wants to resume career at 126, fight Gary Russell Jr. in a unification belt. There was a long time when Gary Russell Jr. was calling out Leo Santa, and it was actually very rude the way in which he was calling him out, but it was calling him out. So it's an easy fight to make. Gary Russell will take the fight. Leo obviously wants to fight. Why not? Maybe 130 was just a bit too much for him. In saying that, he was fighting Gervonta Davis at 130, and he was doing well. He was doing well until he got caught. And if Gervonta Davis catches you like we saw against Barrios, you're done. Forget it. So, look, it's a tough ask going down to 126 and fighting Gary Russell Jr., but these are the fights to make. There's no point in him going down to 126 and saying, oh, let me have a warm-up fight after a loss. Go down there and fight Gary Russell. Although, Gary Russell's been talking about going up to 130 to fight Shakur Stevenson. So, we'll see. Canelo spurns Golovkin again, prefers to fight Charlo. Interested in this because, look, we need to see what Golovkin looks like against Murata, hopefully. Fingers crossed. I don't know when that fight's going to happen. And then we can make judgment or pass judgment. I thought Golovkin physically looked a lot better on the scales against Eremeta. I think he looked really good, and in the end got a good victory. Canelo, it's interesting that he's mentioned Charlo a couple of times now. Canelo's not going down to 160 again anytime soon. I don't think he'll ever go back to 160. So Charlo's obviously got to come up to 168. After seeing Charlo's fight recently, I don't hold too much hope that he gets past Canelo or even puts up a good fight. I can see Canelo running through him like he's ran through everyone, but it'll be a bit more competitive because Charlo is unbeaten. He's very aggressive, and it'll be an interesting fight. I like the fact that he's even mentioning Charlo because there was no mention of Charlo before. Now he's mentioning Charlo. I guess what he's trying to do is almost trying to find opponents. I mean, you look at Canelo and who's out there for him? Caleb Plant, yes, undisputed unification fight. That fight will happen next. It has to. And then what? Unless it goes up to 175 and it's Peterbiev or Dimitri Bivol or Joe Smith, I don't know. At 160, 168, there aren't too many that stand out immediately. So you're thinking, really, Caleb Plant, Benavidez, definitely. That fight should happen at the Azteca Stadium in Mexico. It really should. It will fill that. And it's over 100,000. It will fill it. He doesn't want Golovkin. And I don't know at this stage if I want to see Golovkin. Who else is there? Demetrius Andrade. We already saw that altercation, if you can call it that. He doesn't like him. He calls him a horrible fighter. So I can't see that happening either. So there's only really 3 opponents at 160, 168. And then it's a case of whoever comes along. I mean, are we going to see Belanga go on a crazy run and win sort of 6 or 7 and step up and he become a name that Canelo eventually will fight? I don't know. But it probably will be 175 in the next 3 or 4 fights. And by the way, those are not easy 3. As much as I've dismissed them, Plant, Charlo, Benavidez, if he runs through all those guys, and bear in mind, all those 3 guys are undefeated. If he runs through them, then we're having a serious conversation, people. We're having a serious conversation. If he runs through them, then he surpasses, and this might piss people off, Julio Cesar Chavez as the greatest Mexican fighter we've ever seen. If he runs through those 3 unbeaten. Just saying, that's my opinion on it. I stand to be corrected, but that's just my opinion on the whole matter. What else have we got here? Lou DiBella, Wilder's career, is on the line in Fury Trilogy, and he knows it. Is it on the line? How old is Deontay Wilder, by the way? Is he, 34? 35? What is he? Okay, 35. 36 in October. All right, he's getting on a bit, isn't he? He's getting on. Look, if he gets smashed like he did in the second fight, then there will be some that are saying, call it quits. There will be some. That's just how it works in boxing. You can't lose anymore. If someone loses, you're done. The way I look at it is different. If he's lost to someone in and around the top 20, okay, fair dues. If he would have lost to Tyson Fury in this 3rd fight coming up, he's lost to the best heavyweight boxer on the planet, a lot of people think. And that's true, actually. Not in a lot of people. I think that as well. I think he is the number 1, Tyson Fury. It doesn't mean he can't compete against guys number 4, 5, and 6. I guess what does happen is that the paycheck gets cut in half and you almost have to work your way back up again. And at 36, can he work his way back up again? That's the question. If it's a loss but it's semi-competitive, then there's no way he's going to retire because there's too much money still out there. There's millions on the table. An Andy Ruiz fight, there's millions in a Dillian White fight. If he loses, even if he, like I said, if he loses and it's competitive, there's the money. If he loses like he did last time, then obviously it's a bit more difficult to make those fights straight away. But I don't think Wilder's career is on the line. I just think it's a case of, will he want to start almost again to kind of work his way back up to the big bucks, pay-per-view fights, 20 million, 15 million, you know. It's not going to be easy to get back up there again if he gets smashed, if he gets stopped. But if it's competitive, he's okay. He's okay. What's this? Miguel Cotto versus Juan Manuel Marquez, now being targeted for October. Next, Jamel Charlo feels dominant at 154 pounds. Would consider future move to 160. Yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised he's not thought of and done that move already. Obviously, Jamel Charlo's got that fight against Castano. It's Castano, isn't it? Coming up. When is that fight? Let's have a quick look. Jamel Charlo. When's that fight? I think it's coming up very, very soon. Jamel Charlo, 17th of July, so next week. Next weekend. And that literally is for all the marbles. So let's see how he gets on with that one. I think he will beat Castano. It's a tough fight, by the way. It's not easy. Castano's unbeaten, 1 draw. But he'll get the job done. And then you've got to. What are you going to do? You're going to go round again and fight Erickson Lubin again and Harrison again. You know what I mean? Jarrett Hurt's already lost, and that was at 160. So there's none of the guys that you want to see him fight around right now. So for me, it's go to 160. He's very big, 154 pounds. Look, so much so, I think his twin brother can go to 168 now. He looks big for 160. So yeah, go to 160 and try and become a two-weight world champion. And you know, you think of the champions at 160. I mean, it ain't going to be easy, right? I mean, his brother, number one, but he'll move up. Who else has got a better 160? Golovkin, Demetrius Andrade. I wouldn't mind seeing him in against someone like a Munguia. Ain't going to happen, but I wouldn't mind seeing that. Because Munguia is not the biggest 160 either, having come up from 154. It looks big, but let's not forget he was at 154, 18 months ago. So I wouldn't mind that. Manny Pacquiao. Spence is very difficult fight, perhaps the most difficult of my career. It's difficult. It's the most difficult of his career because of the stage in which his career is at now. It's not the most difficult, if that makes any sense. Manny Pacquiao Pacman is coming to the end. This could be his last fight, so it's the reason it's difficult. I see the Ring have put their belt up for this one, so the winner of this will also get the Ring magazine belt. I don't like that. The reason I don't like that is because, for me, that belt should only be given to... I like to see number one versus number two, and then the winner gets that belt. Like if AJ was to fight Fury, winner gets that belt. Crawford versus Spence, winner gets that belt. Chocolatito, Estrada, although some people might say Rungvisai, but the winner gets that belt. You know, when it's clearly number one versus number two. When it's number one versus, I don't even know what Pacman is right now. Number one versus number, I have no idea. I can't even tell you where he is because he's not fought for nearly 2 years. You know what I mean? Yes, when he fought, he won, and that was against an unbeaten Keith Thurman, but that was a long, long time ago. I spoke to Conor Benn yesterday, and I asked him about his opinion on this fight. He says he actually doesn't watch boxing that much, but he has watched a lot of Manny Pacquiao recently, and he actually picks Manny Pacquiao to beat Errol Spence. And that's because I think he said something along the lines of he still doesn't believe that Errol Spence is living the life properly, and that will catch up with him. I think Errol could be living the life now, especially after what happened with the accident. I think we see less of Errol Spence at these other boxing events, drinking. We don't see that anymore, right? So I think he is living the life right now, and I think he's... I'll be surprised if Manny Pacquiao beats him. Again, you know I've already had it, people, and I will have it. The GOAT conversation if Manny Pacquiao beats Errol Spence, because he's not fighting just out of one... Like, he's not one stage out of his era. Manny Pacquiao, like I just mentioned, Marquez versus Cotto. That's his era. They're having an exhibition fight. He's fighting Errol Spence. Scary. Scary. So we'll see what happens. But a lot of people, by the way, are kind of picking Pacman. Don't get me wrong, more are picking Errol Spence. Obviously, that's the easy pick. But there are a few people that are picking Pacman. Canelo's trainer says plant fight is priority. Move to 175 pound possible in the future. We're just getting different lines from different people now. A couple of days ago, I read out Reynoso saying, I think this is the person that's speaking now, saying Benavidez, Plant, Errol Spence. And now it's a case of 175. Look, 175 makes sense, but he's only small. I think this is the thing with Canelo. He's small. Canelo's like 5'7". So the idea of Beterbiev, who I'm going to guess is about 6'1", and you'd have to chop his leg off to make 168 pounds is crazy. But Beterbiev is 36. So it's going to be interesting, especially if he waits and he fights Beterbiev, and Beterbiev's 38 and is starting to slow down and take more punishment. I don't know. We'll see. One thing is for sure, though, you can crack Beterbiev. I mean, he'll get up and crack you back, but you can't crack the kid. What else have we got here? Anything more? 2 seconds, just having a read. If there's anything. Not really, there's a couple more bits there. Jorge Rubio says, if Teofimo Lopez beats Kambosos, Haney is the next logical fight. Not for me. I get why they're saying that, because obviously then it becomes an undisputed fight. But I think I would rather see Teofimo Lopez go again with Loma. I want to see that. I didn't like the excuses Loma made after about the shoulder surgery, but they were true. We saw the pictures. It did happen. I want to see Lopez Loma again. I really do. I'm not quite sure what they do with Haney next. I wouldn't mind seeing Haney Richard Comey. I wouldn't mind seeing that one. I I think that's a good fight. I think that's a step up from Linares as well. I don't think Richard Comey's shot worn like Linares is. Linares still sharp, but it's been through wars, so many wars. Richard Comey, I think, is still the fresher of the two, and I think he provides a stiff test to Haney. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. And then if Teofimo gets past Loma again, then why not? Although I do think Teofimo will go to 140 if he gets past Loma. So if he beats Cambosos and he beats Loma, I think he's going to go to 140. I don't think undisputed means much to him when I think he actually thinks he's the undisputed because of the way in which Haney got the belt, if that makes any sense. Let's have a quick look at Mike Coppinger's Twitter page just to see if there's anything there before we go. Okay, this is a good one actually. Just because we are talking about the next stars in boxing, who are going to be the next stars. According to Mike Coppinger, the Gervonta Davis Barrios Showtime pay-per-view generated in excess of 200,000 buys. That's more than Tank's pay-per-view event against Leo Santa Cruz. They're thinking the final number will roughly be around 210 to 215,000. That's not bad. That's not bad. Barrios wasn't exactly a strong B-side to this. So that's all Gervonta's numbers. And what I mean by that is when Errol, because people might compare it to Errol's numbers against Danny Garcia and Errol's against Mikey, they brought to the table as well. Mikey brought a massive contingent to the table and so did Danny. And even when he fought Sean, which I think was on pay-per-view, they brought to the table. In this fight, I mean, Barrios has got some following, but it's nothing like Gervonta Davis. So this is really Gervonta doing all the work here. Give Gervonta a very good B-side or an equal A-side, and that number could double or triple. Triple? I was going to say treble and triple at the same time. So that's decent numbers, I think. Very, very decent numbers. All right, I think we are done. Okay, last bit here. Mauricio Lara. We spoke about Josh Warrington earlier. They're obviously having a rematch, and it's likely the date we're hearing now, September the 4th, at Headingley Stadium in Leeds. Katie Taylor will also be on that card. She will defend her 135-pound belts as chief support. Obviously, that was a big upset, big upset last year. When was that fight again? Was it? I honestly can't remember when that fight was. Can't even pretend I know. When was it? 13th of February. Feels longer than that, doesn't it? Feels like it was a long time ago. But yeah, okay, they're going back again, September 4th, Headingley, in front of what's going to be a crazy Leeds crowd. Yeah, all right, peace.